Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today I'm going to be doing the first of two MOCs for my passenger train, set 60197. Okay, so the plan is to make a double-decker carriage or car for the train 60197, and the basis of that is going to be this train base, which is actually 34 studs long, but is also across these two sort of levels with this sort of zigzag sort of pattern. And that allows me to have a lower deck recessed below the sort of normal carriage level, and then a second one above it, but then still not too high that it won't get under bridges or underneath tunnels and so on. So that's the idea. And I have done something similar before for my other passenger train, 60051, and I've done a full video on this if you haven't seen it already, and this is kind of an observation club car with normal seating on the bottom, and then kind of first class seating on the top there with this lovely glass roof. Now today's build I do want to keep a little different from that, because when I've got both of these running around my city I don't want them to look identical, so I will be doing a different setup, but it will be similar in some respects. And the other thing that I'm really keen on doing is having this as being really a conversion of a standard carriage. And what I mean by that is that I want to use absolutely as many pieces as possible from a standard carriage in building my double-decker carriage. And that will mean that if you want to build it, you have to get as few pieces as possible in order to do the same thing. So by the end of this, it will be a real success if we've just got a very small amount of these pieces remaining, and a relatively small amount of pieces added. So you could call this not a full build from scratch, but kind of an upgrade to an existing carriage to make it double-decker. Awesome. Let's get started. I'll use one of these as the source for most of the pieces then, and then we can add some more as we need them. Okay, so the first stage is to build some of the lower sections of wall. And I'm doing this in a way that I hope will be very sympathetic to the other carriages, because when this is storming along the tracks in my Lego room, I want it to look very similar to the ones that are from the stock train as part of the set. So I want all the stripes to be in the same place, and I want all of the features to sort of be common between them, and that way it will look like one continuous train rather than kind of, you know, a strange mix. So what I'm doing here is just building up a side that looks similar and is similarly aligned to a normal carriage. So the normal carriage base is 2 plate widths deep, as is this one. So the first two studs, first two plate layers are taken up by plates to continue that, and then we've got the same sort of stickered brick from the original donor carriage in the middle there, and then I've just added a few more of these profile bricks on each side, but at exactly the same level as the original, so when they're all joined together it'll look seamless. So that's very good. And I've got a similar setup for the other side, so I can just put that in one go, save some time. Right, so now I want to focus briefly on the interior, and for that I want to do a sleeper carriage. Now all of these double-decker carriages have only been done once by Lego in official sets, and the one that they did was called the Metroliner Club Car, set 4547 from 1993, and the lower deck of that one actually was a sleeper car. So there were 2 cabins with a bed and a sink and so on, and then the upstairs was the observation car bit. So I thought, just to make it different from my white train version, I would do the same and have a sleeper car in the bottom of this. So I need to add quite a few jumper plates now, 1x2 jumper plates, to the inside of this in order to make best use of the space. So what I'm going to do is add 4 of them in a row right down the middle, and that's going to be supporting the dividing wall. And then I need to put some on each side as well to support the kind of integrated bed and sink. And I'm going to do those just like in the Metroliner set on alternate sides. Like that. So that's the pattern. And then for the dividing wall, I can have some bricks and some modified bricks facing opposite ways. Plate, tile. And then I want, it's kind of like a control panel, and maybe it's for the air conditioning or the lighting or goodness knows what else. Maybe there's a small TV in there. So I've just chosen this tile, but you really could choose any odd one you want. And I'll put one of those on each side, so each room has got one. And then that can be placed on that middle row of jumpers, like that. Then we need steps to get into the cabins, and they aren't going to be fully to scale because basically there just isn't enough room to do that properly. Essentially, we'll have to imagine that this is a proper doorway to get in, but we've got those steps on each side. Then I want to build the sort of interior furniture. So I'm doing a 2x8 plate with some legs. These can really be in any colour you want. I've got black and dark brown for the legs, and that's just because that's what I had available. And then I've got some dark blue tiles for the sheets. And then the sink, very basically done like that. And that's very much, again, like the Metroliner original. You know, it could be more intricate. You could add as much detail as you wanted, but I'm just going to keep it very simple because you're not going to be able to see it a great deal. And the reason I put those jumpers on is just to make the best use of space, because only with them can I fit in this 8 long set of furniture. So then I've got a second one to do mirror image on the other side. There we go. So there should be plenty of room for somebody to sort of lie down on the bed and enjoy themselves in their sleeper car. Good, good. Now, before we start building up the walls anymore, I think I'll continue building the interior so we can get that finished and then build all the walls around it. So the first thing I need to do is just add some plates here. They can be pretty much any length, but they need to overhang a little bit to support the interior structure of these 2 arches. Now these will sort of act as the doorway into the sleeper rooms, and as I said, it is too small really to be to scale, but the whole train isn't to scale after all. We don't have external doors or anything really, so and then I need to build a long structure along the top, so I'm going to use a combination of plates to do that and strengthen it a little bit more with some more tiles and add on some more seating with tables, and this will be the top deck. And that'll look like that, and that can just fit onto the top of each of those arches, and it's supported in the middle by that wall, so it is quite strong. And then while we're here, I'll just add some minifigures to the scene so we can see them when we're building up the rest of it around them. There we go. Nice full deck. Good, good. Right, so next we can build up the wall on the side, and this is that grey stripe that's next. So just with some plates to start with, and then with the lower set of windows. And that enables us to have a little bit of light going into the sleeper section. And then you can use any combination of dark blue bricks. I just happen to have a 16 long one, but it'll have to total 16 for each side. And then that starts to build up what is essentially this blue stripe here, because the windows are a little bit lower than on the original. Then I've got the same structure for the other side. Okay, now we better do some of the walls on the ends. And for that, I'm using the original bricks with the sticker on that are the 8 long bricks, first of all. But I need an extra one to make it 9 now. Then the white stripe is next, just like on the original, because I want these ends to very much match. So when it's going along the track, it looks all joined up. So then we've got that layer, and then we need the thin grey layer, just like the original as well. Okay, and then copying the original once more, we've got a small column there, and then a section of windows before a thick column, like that. So there we go. And then I've got a similar setup for the other side, and same sort of thing for here as well. Right, so there is our carriage so far, and you can start to see that's looking pretty similar at the ends, where it's going to be joining onto the other carriages. So next, just like the original, is the grey stripe. So we've got lots of 8 long bricks from the original. We just need to add a 2 long brick in the middle, each side. Starting to come together now, isn't it? So next comes the ends, and these ends are exactly unchanged from the original. So I've just pretty much pulled that off the donor carriage, and I can put those onto this at each end. And then we just need the dark blue stripe just underneath the roof. So I've got lots of different plates in dark blue. And this will give it a lot of strength, because so far a lot of the structure is built kind of in columns rather than in a more structured way. But that's the last of the pattern that we need to replicate before we add the roof. And for the ends of the roof, I want it to be joined up with the same height and so on, so the raised bit will only be in the middle of the carriage, so therefore I can just add a whole section just completely taken from the donor carriage on each end. Looking good, but now we need a bit of raised area, so I'm going to use a 1x1 brick on each of these corners. Now, unfortunately, you can't get the slope that's got this facet angle cut into it in this colour. Otherwise, I might have used that. But nonetheless, I think it will still look good. We can have our upper windows on. We can already see all of our passengers enjoying their journey through those windows. Yeah, looking good. Looking good indeed. Now at this stage, I really could have done it in a very similar way to what I did before. And that is what I was going to do at first, using 2 of these pieces, the 41751, one on each end, and then 4 of these 3x6 slope pieces, 35283. And I think that could have looked good. And I think if you don't have one with these pieces, that would make a very good looking setup to kind of cover up this and produce a glass dome. So you might want to try that. But I'm going for something very different because I want a lot of variety in my city and I don't want the two trains looking identical. So it's quite difficult to find an alternative that will work well for a 6-wide train that's going to be in trans black for the glass. That's very different. But one bit that I did find was this, which is the curved windscreen 3x6x1, and that's part number 62360, and that fits rather well on each end of this, kind of like a front and rear windscreen. Yep, looking good. And then we can add a new roof. And the piece that I'm going to use for that is this. And this is a piece that's unique to one set, which was 60159, the Jungle half-track mission, which was obviously a jungle set with obviously a half-track in it. And this was actually the roof of the half-track itself on the cab. And that set came with a Black Panther and was rather good. But there aren't many of these available. And unfortunately, this piece isn't available on Bricks and Pieces, direct from Lego. But you can get it on the secondary market, and its part number is 13269. So what I'm going to do to that is add a plate. I'm going to add some more little plates and a tile and a grill, just to make it all look a bit more ornate. And I'm going to place it on top of here. I think that looks pretty swish. So this is going to have a solid roof, unlike the glass roof of the previous version. So if you want the glass roof, that's fine. Go ahead and add that instead. And then we can just use normal roof pieces. And in total, this build uses 7, whereas the donor carriage only has 6. So essentially, you'll have to get 1 extra. Okay, is that not clipped on there? There we go. And then we can just finish that off with a few more tiles to continue that lovely stripe along the roof. And there we go. Pretty streamlined, I think. Pretty good looking and very different from my other one. So the last thing we need to do is add the wheels and bogies. And these are exactly the same as the donor cars. So again, we don't need to do anything different there. And there we go. There we have it. Our double-decker sleeper car. So I think that looks rather fantastic, actually. You can see all the passengers in the top deck. And you can see into the sleeper car and the old man who's lying down on the bottom floor as well. So the other question is, how well did I do on recycling all of the pieces from the donor car? And I think the answer is pretty well, actually, because obviously we've got the original base that I can use for a different MOC now. We've got quite a bit of the pieces that were making up the bit on the underneath side. I've got a few plates in black, I've got a few plates in white, and a bit of a pile of dark blue tiles. But apart from that, I've used absolutely everything else that was in that carriage. So I'm pretty proud of that. And what we've got is a very sleek, streamlined shape, I think. It's not as sort of see-through, obviously, as the observation car, but I do think it looks very sort of aerodynamic, and it fits perfectly with the rest of the train. If I do that, you can see that we've got the unbroken sort of profile and all the stripes continuing as well. And I went through an absolute load of iterations on this on LDD, which is Lego Digital Designer, just so I could get the absolute best use of space and combination of pieces. And I think the result is pretty good, but do let me know what you think. Right, well I think the only thing remaining is to get this upstairs into the Lego room and have it in action around Brick Nottingham. Cool. Okay, so here is our double-decker sleeper carriage attached to the greater train. And there it is with 1, 2, 3 normal carriages. And I think my biggest concern is it just being able to get under all the obstacles. So I'm going to do its first lap oh golly, that's close, very slowly indeed. That was the tram bridge, and this is the tunnel. Oh, that is close. And then underneath some of the other stuff around the back there. And underneath the stanchion of our blue bridge. Oh, that is very close, isn't it? But it does work. So that's great. So let's get that going around with a bit more speed. Okay. Let's wait for it here. Here it comes. Oh yeah, that's looking really good. It's nice to have a bit of variation on that long train body. And it really stands out because of that really bright colour that it's that colour scheme that it's got. So I'm very happy with it so far, actually. Very happy indeed. Let's get some of the other trains going. So we've got our cargo train over there. Deliberately have that going a bit slower. Oh yeah, very good. And then let's get the tram going as well. Always hard left-handed. Oh, there we go. Oh, let's get a good shot here with both crossing at the same time. Very nice. I've not got my white train going at the moment because I thought that would just be a bit too hectic. But I can get my subway going that's over there at the moment in what will be the second station, which is unfinished at the moment. I can have it charging towards the first one. There we go. So we are all going now. Here comes the subway. Whizzing along. So I think that looks really good. I think that's a great addition to the city. Let's get a quick station shot. Oh yeah, I think that double-decker car is a real success actually. Might be one of my favourites, like the cement mixer I'm following. Yeah, I like that very much. So I do hope that some of you will use that idea to do something similar in your city. I always get quite pleased when I hear about people using my designs. More sharing the merrier as far as I'm concerned. And if you do want to do more of the white train version, oh, that was good. If you do want to do more of the white train version with the glass domed roof, you've got all the pieces in today's video, and you've also got the original video to take a look at if that's of any help as well. So yeah, got a lot of train action going today. Yeah, that's definitely improved that train. And there's my new hospital. I haven't done all the amendments on that yet, but I have just raised that helicopter on some transparent bricks for now. Right, I might try and get some low shots. Now, I deliberately design all my trains so they're incredibly close to all of the obstacles around my city, and this Patreon train is no exception. Oh, golly, that's close. I call it the Patreon train just because it was bought with donations from my Patreon supporters, so it's a bit of a dedication to them, really. Let's have a look at that near miss again. Oh, golly, that's crazy close. Now, there's just something about watching a Lego train crossing a Lego bridge that is fantastic. Very good. And there's the bird's eye view. Looking good. I'm finding that the batteries of this powered up system seem to work a lot less long than the rechargeable power functions batteries that I've got in my other trains, because this seems to be about as fast as it will go now. Maybe I need a second motor. But then again, I am planning to convert it to power functions, so maybe that will sort the problem. Hehe. Well, I think our double-decker sleeper car looks really good and fits in perfectly with the rest of the train, so I think today's video has been a success. As I say, do tell me what you think, but otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos, and next time on Robin Hood Bricks we'll be doing another city update. See you then!